AWS has its presence across the world in form of regions. When AWS started, their presence, or should I say their data centers, were only in US regions. But then the demand was growing. People from European region, Asia Pacific region started using AWS services. So AWS started expanding and creating its data center in different places, and multiple data centers it will create in a geographical location, and that will be labeled as one single region, like London or Paris or Mumbai. And every region will have minimum 2 zones. These zones you can say are like data centers, but actually there are more cluster of data center. Multiple data centers is one zone, and multiple zones are a region or is a region. So let's talk it again. Region will have minimum 2 zones or multiple zones, and every zone will have multiple data centers. You won't be able to see or touch, look and feel a data center from your AWS console. You'd be seeing regions, and you'd be seeing zones inside a region. So let's see how does it look from our AWS console first. So when you logged into your account, over there on the top right corner, you click on this drop down and you will see regions. These are called as AWS regions, geographical location where they are present. Region is just like a title for some n number of data centers for AWS. So if you're talking about, let's say, Mumbai or Oregon or Sydney, let's go Sydney, if you click on this, then we are referring to some set of data centers. We change region or select region based on the user proximity. If you have your user presence in Sydney, then you would like to use Sydney region. And I know the next question in your mind would be, what if I have users in different region, different part of the globe? Well, don't worry, those concepts I'll explain you later. You can set up similar sites on 2 different regions and then use a DNS service to route them based on their location. But those are pretty advanced concepts. As of now, we'll just understand AWS regions and also zones. So first of all, regions are to make its presence in a particular area, in a particular geographical location. Like US, there are plenty of regions. Then they have in China also, Europe they have presence, you see there, Frankfurt, Ireland. And this number that you see over there, like Virginia, North Virginia, 6, these are zones. Every region will consist of multiple zones. These zones will be the physical data centers or cluster of data centers, which can be used for high availability and spreading your infrastructure across multiple data centers. You can use zones concept that we'll see. So these are the existing region, or there are many. Frankly, when I started using AWS, there was I guess like 4 to 5 regions, or like 4, I don't even remember it. Now, I don't know, it's like 15, 16 regions, and they keep growing. You see their new regions are coming up in Bahrain, Cape Town. So I was really wondering, they have no presence in Africa. But with Cape Town, there's going to be new presence there. You have in Hong Kong, SAR, Milan, they already have one in Paris. And in Europe, they have again in Stockholm, London, so many different places. So you should select the region based on the user proximity. But also mind you, the pricing is different. Let's say you're going to spend, for example, $10,000 on your infrastructure in US region. And if in a similar infrastructure you have in, let's say, Singapore region or Mumbai region, it will be more expensive. Singapore region, probably there'll be real estate cost will be more, there'll be too much heat, so more cooling, more power is required for their data centers. So based on the investment that they are putting on their data center, they would be charging for AWS services. Later we'll also see how to do the cost calculation for the AWS services, but for that we need to learn AWS services first. So once we learn few AWS service, we are going to also do the cost calculation for them. But for as of now, for a free tier account which you're just using to learn AWS, you can select probably US regions. That will be better for you. So geographically, see, it may look like this. Its presence is at so many places. You must be wondering, there are some places where the presence is not there, like Russian region, right? I was wondering about Africa, but that's coming up in Cape Town. In South America, they have their presence. Asia, China, Sydney, New Zealand, Japan, Korea, right? So many places. So a region will have multiple availability zones, in short called as AZ. This AZ provides high availability. Like you can have let's say one application server in one zone, another application server in another zone, and a common load balancer. If one zone goes down, your other zone application server will be still live and able to handle the load. You can also do replication between two regions, but that's not going to be same for all the services, and there's no auto replication stuff like that. You need to set replication for so many things manually. So when you're using a region, you get a complete control or ownership on that region for all that services that you're using. This will be good to know mostly for compliances, where you need to explain it to your customer or the client that the data that you created on AWS region is owned by you. And you already seen their new upcoming regions for AWS. So availability zone will be like this. You have a region, let's say a Mumbai region has 3 zones, or a US or North Virginia region has, let's say, 3 zones. So when you create infrastructure, it's better you distribute them across multiple zones. Let's say you have 6 web servers, so you can put 2 here, 2 here, 2 here. So if one AZ goes down or is slow, then the other AZs, the web server in other AZ can handle the load, or it won't completely go down. Your application won't completely go down if you distribute it properly across zones. So you can distribute it across zones, but not across region. Across region will be replication. That's a different thing. So if there is a load balancer that's routing the request, it's going to route it to your web servers in the same region, but not across the region. It's not going to throw the request over a different region. Then you need to have a different load balancer in that region. I know it may sound a little complicated for now, but don't worry. If you're understanding this concept, good. If you're not, don't worry. We are going to do it in VPC, and we're going to also talk about replication. In Route 53 also we're going to talk about it. So over the time you'll get that concept. So let's come back to our AWS console, and let's go to EC2 service so I can show you about zones. So I'm in Mumbai region now, and every region will have minimum 2 zones. Okay, it's also a very common question that is being asked in the interviews and in the AWS exams. There'll be minimum 2 zones in every region. So if Mumbai region, you see there are 2 zones, availability zone status. So a region is going to have a code name like Mumbai region AP-South-1. So AP South 1, where AP represents Asia Pacific. So we have the zone name like this, AP South 1A, AP South 1B. If I go to North Virginia, in North Virginia, if you see, the code name is US East 1, and the zone name, if you see, US East 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D. So there are like 6 zones in this region. Plenty, right? So make sure you know in what region you are first of all, and what's its code name, and then the zone names. So zone, you can select, let's say when you're creating EC2 instance virtual machine, you can select which zone your instance can be, or you can let AWS decide that. When we do VPC, in that area we will see how we can leverage this zones concept. For some time we are not going to leverage this zone concept. We're going to just let AWS decide for us what is the good zone for us. But later we will use the high availability concepts in VPC networks, and we will properly distribute our infrastructure in multiple zones. So if I want to take an analogy, like if you want to know like what's data center here, is region is the data center or zone are the data center? So in this case, you can say zone are the data center. Region is just a label for these many data centers. Okay. So North Virginia, all these data centers, all these data centers are labeled under North Virginia region, like that. The geographical location is there. So I recommend you select a region and stick to it for a longer time. When we are learning AWS services, don't switch your region, because if you set up, let's say, EC2 instance in this region, in North Virginia region, and if you switch to a different region, you won't find your EC2 instance there. Its presence is going to be in the region where you created it. Some services like S3 are available from any region you go. You can see it from anywhere. There will be a global presence for it. So those are the concept about region and availability zone. I recommend you use US regions for now. Also, in some regions there are some limitations and some services that doesn't work in other region. So don't try to go to Seoul and other region. So for me, for this course, I'm going to use Mumbai region. That's gonna be closest to me. Now, if you're wondering, how do I find my closest region? Well, no, don't worry. I'm not going to tell you to look into the map. Okay, we have a better way. Like if you are located somewhere and you fall, or your customer, if your customer, your users fall in a geographical location which is in between two region. So let's come back to this map, right? So let's say your user presence is somewhere here in some African country. So, and let's say Cape Town region is up. So you want to know whether Cape Town is, so you want to know whether Cape Town is going to be good or Europe regions are going to be good. Or if you are in somewhere in South America, your users are somewhere in South America, you want to know whether these regions is going to be closest or the South American region is going to be closest. So in that case, there is a site which I'm going to show you. It's called as Cloud Ping Info. Oh, I think I typed it wrong. That's cloudping.info. That's the site. And this is for AWS services. So you need to open this site from the place where users are, and users or your customer just can do HTTP ping over here and look for the least latency. So it's going to ping to all the regions and it's going to show you the latency. Like if you see here, Asia Pacific Mumbai 24 milliseconds, the least latency, and I'm going to select that region for my user. Okay, remember, it's not your proximity from where you're managing AWS account, it's the user's proximity who is going to use the AWS resource, your resources hosted on AWS cloud. Like a website you're hosting on AWS cloud and your user presence is in Europe, so you better select Europe region. So by now you should be ready with your IAM user. You must have secured your AWS account and you would have selected your right region. And now we are all set to start using AWS compute services. So in the next video, we would be doing that. In this video, that's all. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.